Hey there, Internet. Welcome to the Hard On Gear channel, where I discuss and review my used and abused knives and gear. Yeah, so Hog Guy went out and bought another Mora. So we have the Mora Kansbol here. I bought this one with a very specific purpose in mind, something that I could order with the molly sheath option, which this one currently has on it. I had this attached to my tack vest and had to take it off because of just trying to get some standards thing up to par. We basically just wanted to make sure we were ready in case certain people came in the field to look at what we were doing, and we had to have our bayonet at a certain spot, which meant I had to undo this, which I'll put the picture in here of where I had this set up, but I'll discuss that more in a moment. Basically, the Mora Kansbol is a in-between option if you want to have something cheap, like, I would say cheap, but budget, say like the Mora companion knives, which, oh geez, bumped my camera. God, I hate when I do that. Okay, we managed to survive here. So yeah, the companions are great. For 20 bucks, can't get much better, but the sheaths are lacking. They aren't the best for riding on your hip because they are a little bit stiff and this plastic piece can get jammed up. But if you can get away with it, and there's different things you can do. I know one of the more experienced fellows on the staff for a course, he carries it off paracord off his hip so it dangles a little bit like that. So he's got kind of modified dangle. I've seen people do different things like that, lobster fishing boats and stuff. Very handy knife. But if you want to go a little bit more expensive, you can go up and get something like the Kansbol, which is about 50, 60, 70 bucks Canadian, probably 40, 50 in the States. Pretty freaking solid. It's a little bit different from your average Moras. So the other example that I've got here, the Condor Pterosaur, very similar, very, very similar. The sheath color obviously makes it seem that much more similar, but you're getting into the same type of like bushcraft knife, around 4 inches in blade length. I think exactly 4 inches. The Pterosaur here, you can see I've got a little bit smaller of a paracord, not on the ball, but on the back of it rather. But I do enjoy, on just especially with these sheaths, the way they sit so deep, having a little bit of extra grip to get in there. The Pterosaur's got a little bit of a thicker blade. It's that full Scandi grind all the way through. And if you look at the Kansbol here, you've got a thinned out front edge of the blades. The tip to the halfway point of the blade is thinned right out, so you've got a slicey, technically I think this would be a clip point almost. You see how it kind of swoops a little bit here towards the top, but Scandi grind, and it is a Scandi grind all the way to the end, but you don't have that higher saber Scandi grind on the front tip of this as it gets thinner, so you get a lot slicier of a blade towards the tip. If you had to do some fine skinning or filleting, or just, and I'm talking like, you know, meat, skin of a animal that you're trapping or that you hunted or something like that, it kind of takes this bushcraft knife and gives it a little bit more versatility, but still fairly thick, rugged bushcraft knife, as opposed to some of your, like if it's a filleting knife, obviously you're not going to do like batoning or bushcraft work with that. This, if you had to clean a fish, not that I'm a huge expert in any of that stuff, but you could get into a little bit thinner work, a little bit slicier work with this, and still be able to go and hammer this on a piece of firewood after and not have to worry about it breaking. Is this going to be as rugged as some of a thicker Mora knife? Not so much. So that Mora companion here, pretty thick blade. As you can see, the tips will wear out and they will rust, especially the carbon blades if they're not taken care of. But that, fairly thick. I've got here, I haven't taken out of the box yet, but the Mora Companion Heavy Duty. So just a thicker version. Stand by. A thicker version of the Mora Companion, just a thicker blade stock. And the damn thing about this, I'm left-handed, and all these plastic sheaths on these cheaper ones are all right-handed sheaths. But very, 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 very solid, thick, robust blade stock. That's about the same, yeah, a little bit thicker, but about the same as the Kansbol at the base. Yeah, still actually a decent amount thicker, but that carries all the way through, where you can see the Kansbol gets quite a bit more thin out towards the edge. Now, I don't have my Garberg on me, so that must be, it's in my survival, my emergency bag or whatever. So that's just because it's kind of the one knife. If I only ever had to have one knife on me, that Garberg's probably the one. It's got the diamond sharpener and the ferro rod attached to it, the survival kit as it's called, whereas I got the molly kit for the Kansbol. But you can get the survival kit or the molly kit or just the plain, I think, loop sheath for it. This is the Oh, sorry, that's the Condor pterosaur. But in the box, I do have the hip carry option for this. There we go. So you can just slap this molly, in theory, easily enough. Snap this molly sheath loop off of here. And if you want to deal with the dangle carry off your belt, good to go. And that's fairly interchangeable between those two. Oh, and hey there, viewers of the Hog channel. If you wouldn't mind, if you're enjoying this content, go ahead and click the like button, as it helps the channel out and gets this video out to more knife enthusiasts. So just because I'm going back out in the field when we get back to course, I'm going to have to keep that bayonet where it is on my tack vest. So this will be in here for now, and then once I get the chance to put it on there permanently, I'll probably refit the Kansbol the way I have it in that picture there, because it was actually a super convenient place to have it. Never really got a chance to use it for the day and a half I had it mounted there. I had my Pacific Salt 2 on me as well, so I used that a few times. But yeah, of all the places to have a knife, tack vest isn't necessarily the best place. There's a lot of argument for, like, especially in a combat situation, like how somebody would be able to grab it. But with the extra snap there for the retention, I actually felt pretty confident with that in that position. It blended in with the colors of the tack vest quite nicely. So it wasn't like screaming, hey, look at me, I've got a knife on my chest. But it was certainly obvious that I had a big old knife on my chest. So whatever. I've taken worse slack for dumber, less practical things. So long as it makes sense and it's actually a practical item that I'm carrying on me and not just carrying it on me just to look like an idiot, then I'll take the slack for it. So you can get this in carbon steel as well, I'm quite positive, or like I did with these stainless. Like most of the Mora models you can get them in, let's say, Swedish stainless steel, which is typically on the cheaper versions, just a cheaper carbon, or oh, I don't know, you know what, this is carbon, but it's carbon stainless. Yeah, okay. They're just a high carbon, super durable steel. The stainless models are stainless, not stain proof, so you will get rust eventually, but they will hold up quite well without oil. You can get serrated versions, partially serrated versions, or like this, the full grind all the way to the tip, which is a lot better for most things. But if you want to cut rope or something, the serrations come in handy. A lot of fishing boats around here carry the combo edge ones. So stainless, and then the carbon, which not so stainless, as you can see. And those are the cheaper ones. Then again, mid-range. And if you want to go twice as much as this and pay like 120, 30, 50 bucks, depending on where you're getting it, or closer to 100 US, then you can find the Mora Kansbol, which will be it's a full tang, I guess, is the big difference. All these are only partial tang, some kind of like a rat tail or a tapered off tang that ends right off here in the handle before you get to the lanyard loop. But probably still more rugged than most fixed blades out there. Full tang's probably always going to be stronger. And some people do claim that they have broken the non-full tang Moras. So if it happens, I guess it's one of those things that does happen once in a while. But generally speaking, you're not going to have an issue with these. If you feel like you're going to, or you really want full tang, you can go up and get the Kansbol and pay the extra money for it. It's a really solid knife. Apologize, I don't have mine out here right now, but I'm sure I've plugged pictures by now of that. But down in my bag is that Mora Kansbol, where it stays, because it's always there in case I were to need that one knife. So get some of these other knives out here. Actually, we'll do a couple size comparisons right quick, and I'll just the pterosaurs right there. Essentially the same size and dimensions and everything as the most Mora knives, but as the Mora Kansbol. And let's just get rid of that Condor pterosaur. Those sheaths are so similar too. It's so easy to mix those up. Take that out of there. And let's take the other Mora, because we know it's about the same size as the other one. How about the the Cold Steel SRK in SK5, a little bit bigger of a knife. And we'll take out another military tactical knife, the Glock Field Knife, which is, again, just a step larger than that. And take those off to the side here and take a peek at getting a little more peaceful, the Spyderco Bow River. Nice. And oh heck, yeah, how about a couple of my EDC fixed blades that I like to carry so darn much, the Tops Mil Spy Elite. smaller, and how about just a little bit smaller than that? You know what's coming next. Azula number 2 from SE Knives. And while the Azula's out, let's haul out that other one that's a little more tradish in the leather sheath, the Bradford Guardian 3 from Bradford Knives. And how about just see what the Guardian 3 looks like in comparison. So not bad. Yeah, that Mora, any Mora knife for the most part, except for the Eldris, the little tiny one. Moras aren't exactly EDC fixed blades unless you're okay carrying EDC fixed blades on your hip. Depends on where you're at. You might not get away with it in the city too much, depending on what state or province or country you're in. But I, for the most part, can get away with carrying a 4-inch blade on me. I know for my old job and now for my current one, 4 inches is pretty much about the acceptable limit. If you're carrying around like a buck 119, it's a little bit larger. People aren't going to give you too much crap because it looks fairly traditional and harmless. But if you're carrying around like a 5 or 6 inch K-bar or even like an SRK or cold steel that size, it's going to look maybe a little silly. There's a guy in my platoon who was going to put a cold steel leather neck, which is just about an inch or so, maybe larger than the SRK. He was going to put it mounted on his tack vest on his shoulder, and it kind of took up half of his body. So that's a bit much. Even to have that on your hip out in the field here, I mean, do you need it? No. Will it be handy to have a larger knife? Yes. If you're going to carry something that big, could you carry something a little bit more utilitarian than a cold steel leather neck? Not to say that's not a utilitarian knife and it doesn't have a lot of handy purposes, but it just looks like a little mini Rambo knife and like you're trying a little too hard. So you can get away with a lot of things without people giving you too much slack, but a tactical knife is not one of them. So something nice about the Mora Kansbol, the reason why I got this, and I had another guy in the platoon get a Mora Bushcraft, just kind of off my recommendation of Mora's, and that's a very handy knife to have for this stuff. I like the color scheme of this Kansbol in particular, which is why I got this one. But any decent Mora knife is going to be one of, I think, your better choices for this kind of stuff. The sheath, the retention is a big one, so the dangle carry without having some kind of strap over the top. Hypothetically, you could get it upside down or in a situation where you're going over an obstacle. You wouldn't want the knife to fall out and then you to fall on the knife. So I do enjoy with the Molly setup for this, having that extra snap to go over the top. But in this sheath, I've tried it a bunch of times, and I'll test the retention over time. I feel pretty confident in this. Yeah, it's pretty solid. If I ever notice that retention starting to waver, I'll definitely be questioning it, and hopefully that doesn't fail on me on a time when I need it to not fail on me. But I do typically always have maybe 1 or 2 or 3 knives on me. So if I do happen to ever lose that, hopefully it's lost in a safe manner, then I'll pretty much always have a folder on me and probably a backup fixed blade. Yeah, so as far as anything else review-wise or overview that I can talk about with this, I haven't really done much with it. I've used it a little bit in the field or on, like, say, my rifle, just trying to, like, pry something open, and then touched it up with the Work Sharp field sharpener. I think I took the edge off a little bit, and I'm pretty sure, could be better. She's not popping hairs off like it was, but we're getting a few off of there. But it's starting to see a little bit of wear. The thin edge at the tip of the blade is definitely a little more fragile than your typical Scandi grind Mora. But like I said, it's there so you get sliciness at the tip, and it's still thicker at the base if you need to do a little bit more batoning or thick kind of Mora type bushwork. But speaking of bushwork and the fact that this is a bushcraft knife, a good chance to bring up, now that I'm home for a few days, I got to my mail, Central Kentucky Bushcraft. One of the first knife channels I seen talk about the SE Azula 2 when I was looking to replace my old, I guess I was using my Cold Steel Recon 1 folder for quite a while, and I was looking for a replacement fixed blade and folder for that. Ended up looking at the Azula 2, glowing reviews from many people, including Central Kentucky Bushcraft. And then he did get in touch a little while ago. We did a little bit of a sticker swap. I sent him some in the mail, and he sent me a couple of these really thick, good material Central Kentucky bushcraft stickers. So whoever his sticker guy is, go him. That's a good quality sticker right there. So thank you for those. And just a little note from David himself there. Here are a couple of stickers for you. I've enjoyed your videos. Look forward to seeing what's next. David, Central Kentucky Bushcraft. So very much appreciate that. YouTube knife community is one of the most positive social media places that I could have ever imagined. I'm not a big social media guy, and you hear so much crap about YouTube comment sections and all that. Nothing but good things except for a troll or two. But generally speaking, super positive, super constructive spot. So appreciate that. Appreciate the stickers from you, David, and keep up the Central Kentucky bushcraft stuff. I know you've got the meetup that you're going to, or that you got going on here soon with a bunch of your local folks. So congrats on getting that stuff rolling and seeing your subscriber base jump. Yeah, knife community, cool community. So yeah, we'll keep those off to the side here, and I'll find somewhere to spread all my stickers or keep them over time, and I'll do something hopefully a little more creative, which not my strong suit, artsiness and creativity. But talking about the Kansbol here, is there anything else I'm not thinking of at this point in time? I think not. Keep an eye out for future reviews of this knife. I have a feeling this is one that's going to stay on that tack vest for the foreseeable future, probably all through infantry school, so long as I'm allowed to keep it there. During that course, I'll more than likely have opportunities to put it to use. And if I break it or snap it or do anything stupid like that, I'll be sure to pass that on to you. Other than that, I guess we're into that whole spiel about me telling you to like the video if you haven't already and you enjoyed the content. If you feel like there's a better knife that I could have put on my tack vest, like as far as a decent fixed blade that fits all those purposes, again, it doesn't have to be the most tactical thing ever. What this isn't is a fighting knife, and you notice the lack of a finger guard on this, like the Garberg. I don't like that. I've talked about that in many videos. That's my biggest drawback for the Garberg, but this is a bushcraft knife. And if you want to choke up and get good control and doing that kind of stuff, or firecraft or bushcraft, the finger guard kind of gets in the way a little bit. So other than that, I think this covers most of your bases for a military knife. It's not a fighting knife. That's not what this is for. It's a tactical knife in some aspects, in that it's fitting all my tactical gear, it's low profile, and it's relatively safe for someone not using it to attack me super easily, if that makes sense. But yeah, again, let me know your comments, let me know your thoughts. I'm sure I'm wrong and dumb in a lot of things, and I don't mind letting known that in a relatively constructive manner. Or be a dick about it down below, and I'll just feed it right back to you. Be my guest. So that's it for this one. Check out the other videos popping up on the side panel, probably about some of the knives that I talked about already on this table, probably including the Garberg, if you're more interested in that. And if you don't feel like watching those, maybe click on the little badge here to bring you to the Hog channel and see what else is going on my, on the YouTube channel, on the Instagram, and all that fun stuff. So we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. This is the Hard On Gear channel, signing off.